Springtime 1984, Gaydon, Warwickshire. Secret testing of an all-new innovative rally car designed and built in the traditions of the all-conquering Mini Cooper, the Austin Healey and the Triumph TR8. It's the rear-engine four-wheel drive MG Metro 6R4 that has allied the Grand Prix technology of the Formula One Williams team to the hard-won rally know-how of Austin Rover. Competition director John Davenport.
International rallying is so important, it gets so much media coverage, that Austin Rover really can't afford to be out of it. And we decided, therefore, that we would build ourselves a new rally car, a purpose-built car to win rallies. Started in 1981, just after we finished with the TR8 program, and we sat down with Formula One team with whom we had connections, namely Williams Grand Prix Engineering, and knocked around all sorts of concepts based on production cars, and came up with the idea of a four-wheel drive Metro. The first car actually ran around the yard here exactly a year ago, and the testing has gone very well, and we hope to be actually rallying the car within about 6 weeks.
There are other four-wheel drive rally cars, but new with the Metro was a package that included a non-turbo atmospheric engine. No throttle lag, better response and engine braking on the overrun. And it really worked. Listen to Tony Pond.
The traction and the stopping power of the car is unbelievable, and even the handling in the corners is not unlike a conventional car once you get it set up.
How does it compare with previous rally cars that you have driven?
Oh, I've never driven anything that gets between the corners just as quick as that. And it doesn't make much of a meal getting around the corners, so you don't feel you're going very quick till you look at a stopwatch, and it's incredibly quick. Everybody's got the traction, and everybody's got relatively good brakes with four-wheel drive, but I think we're better in the braking department, and we're certainly much better in the handling department.
So when it starts its competition life, is it really going to be competitive?
It must be.
And it was. In its first competition appearance in April 1984, with the comparatively cooking motor, a mere 250 horsepower, Pond led the York National Rally in devastating style, until a trivial electrical problem put the flame out. But the point had been well and truly made that the concept was right. All that was needed, as with any new design, was careful and logical development to iron the bugs out and get it totally right. So then, the Gwyneth Rally in February 1985, where the 6R4 appeared in longer wheelbase form and with a super aerodynamic new body and computer vision colours in the more than capable hands of Tony Pond to decimate much more powerful opposition and win its spurs with a dramatic victory. A justifiably delighted Tony Pond and Rob Arthur, and enthusiastic cheers all round to mark an historic win. And in May 1985, at the competition department workshops in Cowley, the developed car for the World Championship events with a very significant new feature.
Externally, you won't see a great deal of difference, except the car has become slightly more angular and aerodynamic. The wheels have gone up in size, and the wheelbase and track have been extended. But I think it's internally that the major revolution and change has come about, because it's now got its full 380 brake horsepower engine in it. And if you want to know what the details are of that, you really ought to talk to David Wood.
David Wood explains that new engine.
Well, it might be thought we were flying in the face of convention by going normally aspirated, but we feel we've got the right answer here. The engine is a 3-litre, 24-valve engine, and in the form you see it here, it's producing 250 horsepower, and is in fact the club engine. In the rally car that we actually rally from the works, it'll be a 380 to 410 horsepower, depending on the rally. The simplicity of this route means that the car has less systems to go wrong, we have less heat problems, we have a good, strong torque, and very importantly, we have good engine braking.
bigger engine, obviously, the 400-odd horsepower, and today is actually the first chance I've had to drive it on the loose, and in fact in anger. I've driven it on the road before and it felt rapid, but it's already 7 seconds quicker than we've ever been around there before with the old engine. We have learned a lot with the small engine. In fact, the V62V, the old engine, has been a terrific test bed, which is what it was designed for, and we've learned a lot from it. And it's gratifying to put the big engine in and find that what we learned still adds up.
So where do we go from here now, Tony?
Win some rallies.
And where better to start than Scotland, the demanding, beautiful venue for the Argyll Rally, where Tony could really clear the Metro's 400 horsepower throat, put the power down and go for it. This was the acid test for which the whole enormously enthusiastic Austin Rover competitions team had been preparing themselves for so long. The chassis men, the engine and transmission designers, the aerodynamicists, development engineers, planners, administrators, the management, and of course the man who had to exploit their combined efforts, Tony Pond. Watch Tony rocket through the rugged grandeur of Rest and Be Thankful, glorying in the handling, the power, the traction, the sheer performance of the MG Metro 6R4, and see how well he did so. Straight from the press conference to announce the developed car, Tony Pond, Rob Arthur, and the Metro had won the Argyll Rally very convincingly. So, on the run-up to the big one, the Metro's international debut in the Lombard RAC Rally, things were looking really good. But how did the very critical and experienced Tony Pond feel the Argyll had gone?
Fairly much to order, except for a couple of routine punctures, probably self-inflicted, so that's life, isn't it?
Are you pleased with the performance of the car?
Oh yes, yeah, I think it was about 6 seconds a mile quicker than the quickest of the opposition, which is what we've got to do, really. I mean, they're the sort of times this car must do. And I should think it's got to be about 3 seconds a mile quicker than a Quattro before we'd be very happy.
So it augurs well for its big debut in international...
Yes, you know, this week's been very good. It's done everything. I think the engine's run about 8 or 9 hours now, and I always over-rev it, so I'm pretty pleased with it.
But meantime, there was another race against time. The race to get 200 6R4s like this finished in time to satisfy the rules of motorsport's governing body, FISA. For unless they were all produced by the stipulated date, the Metro wouldn't be allowed to compete in the vital and prestigious Lombard RAC Rally. So Austin Rover executed a carefully planned exercise, setting up special assembly facilities at Longbridge, employing a hand-picked task force of top men to get the vital job done in time. Whilst at Coventry, an equally dedicated force built up the V6 250 horsepower engines for the clubmen's competition cars and their associated transmission units. Assembled engines and transmissions were married into the body chassis units at Longbridge. The suspensions, brakes and other components added. The planning and its implementation went impressively smoothly, and testing completed, the job was done to schedule. "200 MG Metro 6R4s were made and ready to take up the cudgels behind the world-famous octagon. And with the FISA inspectorate satisfied, the clubmen's and the full works cars with their 4-cam 400 horsepower engines were ready. Ready to follow in the wheel prints of their illustrious forebears, the Mini Coopers, the Austin Healys and the Triumphs. Austin Rover had had the courage and the initiative to try something new, the willingness to embrace Grand Prix technology, the ability to develop and hone a brilliant concept, and the enthusiasm to weld together a team of specialists to make it all work. Next, they faced the ultimate challenge, the 1985 Lombard Rac Rally, which they tackled with the confidence of knowing that nothing had been left undone to ensure success. At the Nottingham scrutineering, massive enthusiasm greeted the chunky works metros, and then supported them every inch of the way through England, Wales and Scotland. And against the Audi Quattros, the Peugeots and the Lanciers, the toughest possible international opposition, Tony Pond and Malcolm Wilson had their 6R4s up at the front right from the start. Malcolm Wilson, an inspired third in his first major rally in the Metro before he had to retire. And an equally inspired Tony Pond brilliantly contested the lead in spite of a personal battle with flu, remembering all the time that the main objective was to finish well. And finish well is just what Tony Pond, Rob Arthur and the 6R4 did. Brilliantly well. Third place in the Metro's first championship rally against the best the world could throw at them.
I'm disappointed, but I'm very happy for the car. The car was perfect. We didn't lose 1 minute, 1 second through anything wrong with the car.
Well, we've obviously got a competitive package. How about 1986?
Well, I think in World Championship terms, the car is so reliable. If we can come up with this again and continue, I mean, it's going to get in the frame on every event.
But it's not going to be easy. For next, it's the best known and most glamorous of them all, the Monte Carlo Rally, where snow and ice are the traditional going and where victory can bring the greatest rewards of them all. It's been a long, hard struggle, but now Austin Rover are back with the certain knowledge that the MG Metro 6R4 is as good as the best, and a genuine candidate for top World Championship honours in 1986.